We recently just did the RTR Tactical shock struts and springs, and now it's time to upgrade the suspension even more with the RTR Tactical front and rear sway bar. First thing we're going to do is pop off the sway bar end link. And then do the exact same thing on the opposite side quick. We're now going to remove the sway bar end link from the sway bar itself. Now that we have the end links removed from the sway bar, we're going to want to start loosening up this back bolt here. It's going to be an 18mm. The best thing you can end up doing is grabbing an 18mm wrench here, and then if you end up using the open end and the end of a jack handle, you'll be able to crack it loose. And then from there, you just use the closed end of the wrench and get it out of there. Now that our sway bar end link is removed and we have that back bolt out of our sway bar, at this point repeat the exact same process on the opposite side, and then we'll start tackling the front bolt on the sway bar. To access these two front bolts for the sway bars, we're actually going to take out the intakes. It's going to make things a lot easier. So let's go ahead and get after it. Connect the PCV lines by pushing in the clip here on either side. Pop the intake cover off, and then you'll be able to get to this mass airflow sensor a lot easier. Pull back the white tab, push down on it, and release. And then there's going to be a clip in here for the wiring harness. Pry that out. And then remove the intake. Remove both 10mm to remove the bottom of the airbox cover. With our air intakes out of the way, we can access the front bolts to the sway bar and attack them. At this point, we're going to fish the sway bar through the Mustang. I would definitely grab a friend because you're going to want somebody on the other side pushing while you're pulling. Now it's time to put in our RTR Tactical sway bar. Before doing so, leave the plastic on the sway bar. That way it doesn't get scratched up during the install. After we install it, we'll end up installing our sway bar bushings, but let's go ahead and get this in first. Make sure when putting your new sway bar in, you're following the exact same orientation of the sway bar you took out. We're now going to install our sway bar bushings, but before doing so, grab the grease that's inside the kit and grease up the inside of the bushing. And you're going to want to do this on the driver and passenger side. We can now put our sway bar mount brackets on, and then use the factory hardware to tighten them down. So now it's time to put our sway bar end links back on, and when you go to do this, you're going to notice on our tactical sway bar from RTR, there's 3 different holes. Now the one furthest to the left is going to be for your softest setting, the one in the middle is going to be mostly neutral, and then the one to the right is going to be the hardest or stiffest setting. We're going to end up using the middle hole for this build because the customer doesn't really do any hard driving, so this should be perfect for everyday driving. Once you loosely connected your sway bar end link on the opposite side, then you can tighten everything down. At this point, we are done with the front. We have the sway bar in place and tightened down. The only thing that's left to do is to put our air boxes back, but after we do that, we're gonna go onto the rear, so just follow us on back there. To remove the rear sway bar, we have to remove this 10mm bolt. After removing that one, make sure to remove the other side before moving on to the next step. Now we're going to disconnect the sway bar end link. Do the same on the other side. Remove 2 13mm bolts on either side of the sway bar mounts. Once removed, you can remove the sway bar. Now remove the sway bar end links from the factory sway bar. We're now going to put our new bushings on our new sway bar. Again, just like the front, before doing so, we are going to apply some grease. This stuff is pretty gross, so wear some gloves for sure. All right, now we're gonna put our new sway bar in. We're gonna put one side through first, get a majority of it through. Then fish it through the other side. We're gonna rest it on the exhaust for now and then grab our new mounts. So I made a little bit of a mistake. I originally put the bushing on the inside of this ring here, but it doesn't line up when you do that, so you're gonna wanna move the bushing to the outside of the ring. My bad for anybody who followed along. Now we're gonna put our bracket on. We're gonna reuse the factory hardware, except there is going to be a big washer inside the kit that you'll use with the bolts now. We're now going to install our rear sway bar end links to the spring perch. Now we're going to attach our sway bar end link to the sway bar. We're going to use the middle hole just like the front. Keep everything balanced. We're going to install this brake line bracket that's provided in the kit. You're going to slide it over the sway bar end link, and then the tab is going to slide into the hole that you're not using. Reuse that same hardware that we originally took off for it. Once you have both sway bar end links hooked up on both sides, then you can start tightening everything down. We're all wrapped up with installing the front and the rear sway bar. Make sure to have a friend on standby because installing these can be a little bit tricky, especially the front. Now I would say give yourself about 2 hours to be able to install both front and the rear. And if you'd like to purchase these, I'm gonna leave a link down below in our description. But this thing should be ready to hit the road and it should definitely handle a lot better. It's time to drop a gear and disappear, and we'll catch you on the next one.